So did anyone here notice, either over the lunch break or whilst we were doing the exercise earlier on, that you accidentally slipped out of small talk into some other place that was much more comfortable, much more pleasant, much more meaningful, and much more enjoyable, and you kind of just ended up there without really knowing how you got there? Anyone notice that happening? Right? Would you like to discover the secret to that mystery? What is going on there? Would that be interesting to you guys? Am I doing it again? God damn it. So, small talk with signaling intent and care. Then we need to come into the next phase. Let me just get a marker. And the next phase I'm going to call an unusual phrase. It is not a cultural phrase, just only to distinguish the idea of small talk. And because it's small talk, we're going to call this big talk, right? Because really it's small talk done bigger. Remember, small talk is the test to whether or not you have permission to do big talk, right? And how do you test? You load your small talk with a request for a risk. You load the small talk with a request for your partner to take a risk in the conversation. Now, it helps tremendously if you go first to show what you mean. And what is a risk? A risk is anything you care about. When you signal, I care about this because this is important to me because, right? That instantly takes you out of small talk and into big talk. Imagine sitting at a bus stop talking to a complete stranger and they ask you, do you have a favorite child? And they go, what the hell is this coming from? I don't even know you. Why are you asking me these things? It's way too personal, isn't it? It's not that you can't answer that question. It's that you don't know whether you're safe answering that question to this person because you don't know, will they ridicule you? Will they share information in places you don't want them to be? Will they abuse the information? Will they criticize you for it? You have no idea how they'll react. Why? Because small talk hasn't happened yet to show you how they react to stuff that you say. Now imagine you're on the same bus stop and you're having a talk with a stranger and you say something in small talk that you regret. It's a little bit, you didn't mean it, but somehow it comes across a little harsh or offensive or whatever. And they just take it with a smile and they're relaxed about it and they go, oh, I know, it's okay. And you apologize and you go, oh, it's okay, don't worry. I knew exactly what you meant, right? How do you suddenly feel? The tension relieves, you get closer to them. And why do you feel closer? Because they just passed your test. They've just entered the demilitarized zone because they've demonstrated to you that when you make a mistake in the conversation, you will not get punished for it. And what's punishment? Social ostracism, lowering of status, and any negative emotion, right? That's not entirely true. You can actually use negative emotions for big talk as well. It requires a little bit more skill. But for this level that we're at right now, let's assume it's all negative emotions, right? As long as you avoid those things, so it's overall pleasant, it's overall rewarding rather than punishing, right? Then you will invariably get through to big talk with people as long as you make offers. What's an offer? You ask a question and that's loaded for a little bit of a personal input and then they choose the level of their answer, right? So we asked a couple of questions like this earlier on when we started the day right at the first session, right? So what was some of the questions you guys asked as a follow-up to who are you, where are you from, and so on? Just any question that you used that worked well for you in that conversation. So can we have a mic over here?
How, when?
Sure, but the actual question, because how and when can be...
How do you do that?
How do you do that, right? So that's asking for more of a process question. So in a level of intimacy, right, or the level of risk required, who are you? What's the level of 1? If it's 10 is a really big risk, lots of intimacy, and 0 is no risk, no intimacy. Who are you? How big a risk is that?
2 or 3.
Like a 2 or 3, maybe even a 1, right? So it's very low on the scale. Would that be fair to say? How good are you at that? What's that in terms of risk? It feels high, a 5 or 6, right? Right? What's the most difficult thing you had to endure as a child? Oh, now we're into a big question, right? That question zeroes you right into the inner sanctum if they're willing to go. That's a fast track question, but most people will say, back off, buddy. Not appropriate right now. Do you see where we're going here? There are levels of engagement here, right? And then the smooth transition is to figure out how open is this person and how can you make a smooth set of offers so you gradually move from empty small talk that's only about signaling care and appreciation into content talk where they're offering more emotional content and taking more risk in offering that. Do you see the transition we're talking about here? You've done it already. Now we're just describing and seeing how it fits into the bigger picture.